Hello, welcome to SYNTHWAVE Sit Downs. I'm your host, Droid Bishop, and in this episode, I welcome Detroit Rock City-based synthwave fusion wonderkin, Phaserland. We talk about his musical history with bands, how he's come to mix such luscious and spacious soundscapes. We also share our love for Dave Grusin and Bob James. So let's get rolling with Phaserland. How's it going, Ross?
Hey. Hello. I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Detroit Rock City coming in hot.
That's right. That's a great movie. Well, it's an okay movie, but
you know what? It is. It's an okay movie, but the topic, the content is hot. I watched it recently, and it holds up in feel, if that makes sense.
Yeah. But I am the I guess Motor City living, you could say, down here, and I love making the synthwave or instrumental / everything else that is involved with the music. So it's not just synthwave, but it is, but it's not. You know, what
of course. And you can't be boxed in. You know, you're synthwave, synth enthusiast, musical mastermind.
There you go.
So, what was it like growing up in your household, like musically speaking?
My dad was musical in the sense that he had a passion for a classical guitar, and so
nice.
He'd always have he'd be playing. I mean, the classical like Bach and various other things that he'd be practicing and
the good stuff.
He'd always try his best, but of course he'd raise three kids, and he wasn't like aficionado, if that's the word, but some of my earliest memories was like sitting in his like fuzzy orange guitar case. Like the inside, it was lined with like orange fur. So it's one of my earliest memories, I think. So grew up with that. Very supportive dad. So when I wanted to start to play later on in life, he was very encouraging.
So was he your first guitar influence?
Oh, definitely. And then he had a teacher who would come over to the house, and this guy is super tall, super skinny, like long hair. He looked like Jesus in the like typical kind of Anglo way you see in Grandma's wall.
6-string Jesus.
Right. And you come in, and they're like, "Wow, this is good." I was very little, but like, there's something compelling. Not that it was a religious thing, but those are the earliest type of guitar memories, and he'd be practicing, and it would always be kind of filling the back of the house, and you'd have classical music on in the background and stuff like that. My mom played piano, but never played at all. Just fascinating. She told me one day, like out of the blue, and she sat down and played this whole thing. I'm like, why didn't I don't know? It's just one of those things. But so I grew up in a musical household.
What do you mean? Like she was talented, she could play, but she didn't venture out into being a piano player. Is that what you mean?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, correct.
It's funny that happens with some people that are usually sometimes better than the people that have made a living from it.
Yeah, it's crazy. But she did write. She was more of a writer.
Music?
Wrote some like
or literary
television
writer.
scripts and stuff,
really?
and movie scripts. Yeah, and like it's
Anything like get picked up or?
Some things almost got picked up, and then she kind of like quit it, like stopped after that. But like New Line Cinema was really interesting for a while.
The house that Freddie built.
Yeah, right. Like I remember that too, and conversations just
That's
never went through.
awesome.
But they were like, I remember this one story. Is like it was kind of like the Goonies, but like for up north Michigan, and there's the island that appears and all. And
something for the
thing.
home base for the kids at home.
Yeah.
Write what you know.
Well, my dad by trade is a cinematographer. He like
amazing
film. So I've always surrounded with like gear everywhere, Pelican cases, and so I grew up with all that creativity in the household and warmth and lighting and that kind of stuff. So I was pretty fortunate.
It's interesting that you bring all this up with your parents kind of being involved in film and TV, because I find your music so cinematic. A lot of your stuff kind of has this really cool feel that I often long for in my soul, of the like mid 80s James Horner vibes, from like Commando. These big snares, these big luscious scapes going through. And I wanted to know your ins and outs of your love for movies, and it seems like you come from a household of music and movies, the best of both worlds. If you want to expand on like where you come from as a movie lover and how that relates to music.
Oh man, that means a lot. That's really, really wonderful hearing that from you because, I'm just getting a little goosebumps because somebody's saying that back to you of the things that you love and it inspires them. Because obviously I'm a huge fan of your music and what you do.
Oh,
but to something about, I think I was the third child. I spent a decent amount of time watching movies by myself and dreaming, I guess. Like I had an older brother, 2 years older, and he's great, but none of my family members were into music as well, and just kind of being in that kind of dream world or sitting down and watching. And I have friends who are like that as well, but I've always just been kind of in my own realm because I entertained myself, so I'd watch a lot of different movies, and we had cable growing up, and it was just whatever was on TV. And to me, it's like a lot of it is in the details. And it's hard to describe it so much, but
no, I get it. It's a picture
something,
in your mind.
It's a vibe. Yeah, it's an emotion. It's a feeling, and I've always been kind of I gravitated towards it, and so it's got a reverb. Right. Well, because it represents space. Right?
No, exactly, and you're kind of leading me into some thoughts here because I was doing a deeper dive into your catalog, and which I have to say, like I've become like a really big fan, more than I was just diving in, and I'm overly impressed. Like almost ashamed of like, did I not know this or did I blow it off somehow? Or, there's so much music out there and you're often wrapped up in what you're doing. Your mixes are great and the production and the arrangements. I just wanted to know, like, what was your background as far as engineering goes and how that process is? Because I was really impressed.
Oh, man. First of all, holy crap, that was awesome. It's very kind words. It touches my heart because, there's a lot of stuff out there. There's a lot of noise. Everything's just so instant on your phone, and it's hard to take time to listen to things. But
I listened to it with headphones too. Like I wasn't like, oh, let me just get through this. No, I really absorbed it. So yeah.
No, that's I really appreciate that. Production wise, a lot of it's just is self-taught. And early on, growing up with music, I was always into like, I don't know, starting off, it was like your typical guitar stuff, and then I got into prog rock, and then, Dream Theater and Rush and those type of mixes. But I've never had like a big mixing console or anything. I had a four-track tape cassette recorder.
A Tascam?
The old Tascam, right? And then, I don't know, it is just kind of sitting down and listening to the space between. Like, I've always respected like a good like listening spot, but I've never built some grand studio. I think a lot of it is just sonic choices and timing, and I try to not to be that guy that overdoes it like so much. I try not to be that. So a lot of it's just kind of like.
No, I noticed that if you're speaking arrangement wise, and I was actually really impressed with that because there's so much space, and it would be hard. I know from experience, and I try to want to fill that, and I don't know. It like Miles Davis would say, it's really between the notes and all that, and it takes a wild animal to really do that and have the cojones to do that. So I applaud you, and the arrangements and you're a music man. I hear that, and I'm it's.
I appreciate that because like I am not. Like you said, the space between, like, I really, it took me a while. Like, I've been recording music for, some of it wasn't that great. I go back and listen to some of the stuff. I'm like, yeah, wow, some of it's great. It's like, I'm talking like 2010, 2012, 2010, like getting close to what I started in Phaserland, just like end of 2013, 14. But I was really into jazz for a minute. And so, like you said, Miles Davis. And it hits home because a lot of it's phrasing, like you're like communicating, like having a conversation almost. But the instruments are talking to each other. It's not like you're throwing around.
No, it's like really cool.
Jazz solo, but there's talking to each other, so there's space. So you have to kind of create and layer. I mean, nowadays with our technology, you can layer as much as you want. You got to be careful, but
I think it takes restraint to do what you do, and
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, I love this. I love this space, and you don't need a big studio. Like all that stuff, all this. It's anyone's opinion. Anyone can think and do what they want. And if people want a big studio and get good results, they can do that. But I'm listening to your records, and I'm thinking, this is great, and you're doing it all in the box. I'm sure in a room in your house. And
yeah, I'm doing it in the box in a basement. I've got a couple pairs of, when I started off, up until Flip the Switch album, I was using some, the KRK, the VSX, isn't there? Not the Rockets, but they were the ones that were a little step up. So I was using just 6s with those in a space, not a very big basement space. And then I stepped up, got some Yamaha HS7s after that, like 2019. And the last 3 albums have been on that. But a lot of listening in random spots, like in your car, here and there, like you do your tests. But honestly, it just comes down to choices. Like I know what was going to sound good. Like these basses that I like to use will work with these instruments. And it's just over time, you kind of feel it works. Like there's so many bad bass sounds like out there. It's hard to describe it. And it's just, there's only like 4 or 5 that like really speak to me. It's funny.
Yeah. There's a lot of resonant bass sounds out there.
Yeah. And it's hard. And I think that's really helpful to get a good bass tone. But
the bass and the drums, I think, are, the foundation of your house. And I really like just the tightness of your drums and your bass, and but they pack a punch. It's the jazz hits,
yes,
which I loved all that. Did you ever listen to Dave Grusin? Because there's a bunch of Grusin stuff vibes in there that I like.
Man, Nightlines.
Oh,
that's a great album.
Yeah. I was hearing this, and that's the stuff I live for. I was super into, which I still am into these guys, but I was listening to a lot of Grusin and Bob James and a lot of these guys.
I love Bob James. I got a ton of. So this is makes sense here, you buddy.
Yeah, I mean, Bob James is the most, if not 1 or 2 most sampled artists in history. All of his stuff for all the hip hop songs that his stuff has been sampled on. Anyone out there, you may not know Bob James. You know Bob James. You know Bob James' music. I could throw you something you've heard in your life and be like, that's a Bob James sample. And Grusin, these guys with
early Grusin. Sorry to interrupt.
No.
Affecting all of us was he did the soundtrack for the Goonies.
Of course,
which is another So a lot of people don't know that, but
yeah.
You get chills, right?
Which is just similar to something in Never-Ending Story, by the way, but just throwing that out there.
Yeah, it is. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. But whatever. I put it in one of my songs somehow, too. So figure that one out, anyone out there. It's not hard. I noticed that sometimes when you're listening to something or someone, you feel like they must like what I like, or they must know who I know, and that's how I felt listening to a lot of your music.
That is that's heartfelt, man. That's hits the nail on the head, because that doesn't happen very often. And as you go on and just you like what you like, and being a musician, there's certain things you gravitate towards too. And I kind of built my own little corner that I live in, and I like, and I'm open to so many different things. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there's different genres of music in the world, but there's something about that style of melody. It's the melodies that I love. There's so many great Bob James stuff. It's jazzy, but in Grusin and those guys, but it's also just it's so accessible that it doesn't feel like it's just like a feeling and a story and a warmth type of thing.
Yeah, and there was a real melodic, thematic element to those guys that was it bridged a gap between some straight ahead jazz stuff and fusion to some more palatable, I don't know, jazz, funk, soul stuff from the 70s.
Right.
And it and that stuff was the background music in 100 cop shows, and the intro song. Think about all the TV shows and all the filler music that was like whatever to people. We hear an old commercial like today and we're like, do you hear that? Do you hear that Bob James sounding thing on that McDonald's commercial from 1983? Whatever it is, you know.
Oh my God, that's great.
So
yeah, and then of course there's a whole like Bruton library music stuff too. So you have these great musician cats. I mean, it started from early in the 60s, but like 70s and 80s, and you get them in a room. Like, they're not like big superstars, but they're great musicians. They come up with these really beautiful, fun or whatever, minute and a half long things. I mean, you probably know library music, obviously, and they would use these for film and TV and all those things.
Of course, yeah.
Great little excerpts, great melodies, you know. And there's compilations online. You can get at Discogs. You can go and I want the Bruton Volume 79, and it's like $400 or something.
Of course. Well, I mean, you know, now a lot of library music is cutting and splicing some things together, and you compile your library pretty quickly in a lot of little minute and 2 minute things. But you know, and that's what it is. I'm not knocking it, but some of these little 1-2 minute jingles, if you will, were like little masterpieces. Do you know what I mean? It's like the music theory that goes in there, which, you know, leads me to wondering about your music theory. Like, where, like, listening to your stuff, you have an understanding of music and theory. A word gets thrown around, you know, just understanding.
Sure does.
Like, my music theory is I just understand kind of how it works on some level, and it seems like you do too.
Right. It's exactly it. Like, concepts I get. I can't read notation myself.
Nor can I.
And that's so great. Like, my 15-year-old niece can, and she just picked up guitar, rather, which is really cool. Which is fantastic. She plays like bass baritone, almost like the tuba thing, and then
nice.
She nails a bit. She's a black belt in karate too. Like, anyway, she can read music. I can't, but you know, not to get off topic there, but there's something said about I know enough, right? Like, I started off as a guitar player, and obviously you're an incredible guitarist, and I could hear it in everything when you play, all your nuances and the harmonies you put together. So I've always been a big fan of that.
I appreciate
I could go on about you, but like,
well,
I started.
It's about Phaserland, okay? You're in the hot seat.
Today's my day. But
who are some of your guitar players that you kind of grew up learning from? I'm sure that was the initial spark into kind of understanding how notes and chords and songs worked.
Definitely. You know, I starting off, it was just I wanted to learn some like Chili Pepper songs and stuff, and then I got into I heard a Rush record, a Test for Echo, at the like one of the it was a bookstore, and they had the listening stations. Yeah, and I was like, wow, that opened up my world. I was like, no way, some of this stuff's fantastic.
Lifeson up in you,
right? So I was a big Lifeson fan, for sure, starting off. And some SCP stuff. Like, I was a big SCP fan starting off as well. So there's some great things going on there. But I had a fantastic teacher, and he looked like Slash. He'd walk in, these like tight little shorts on, long curly hair.
Nice.
He'd like come to my house, super cool. He had this like white hot PRS, like from the 90s. Nice. And I was like, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. And so he was, I mean, dad is first inspiration to get me going to classical, but like seeing that white PRS and him just shredding, because I've never seen that before, and I'm like this impressionable, like 11, 12-year-old kid, got me onto like pentatonics and some of the modes. Or I don't have all my modes memorized, but like learning, listening, playing, and also Eric Johnson. Okay, that's another one. Okay, so he turned me on to Eric Johnson when the way he phrases his pentatonics, and that was an eye opener. How you could play pentatonics, but not make it like a bluesy pentatonic. You can have it melodic, and you can
add a little bit of color.
Right? Exactly. And then some Alex Lifeson stuff. You add some color, those open chords that he would do, and practicing and just being in my own world and practicing in my room, kind of not. I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I mean, a little bit, but just over time, you get this muscle memory, and your brain just kind of figures out what it wants to do and hear and listen, and your tastes change. And so over time, it's just kind of what it evolves to. I mean, I got into like metal, like Dream Theater 2 and all that jazz. But like, I kind of grew out of that a little bit, but I appreciate it because I used to practice my chops. So like, all right, I got to sit down and practice for 2 hours. So
yeah,
we'll go through that phase a little bit, and then
were you were never into, so you were never a like straight up metalhead guy.
No, yeah, never. So it
Just
was always like I like
in
that.
Some guitar, like some genres where there was some kind of virtuosic guitar player going on.
Yeah, because I never felt like identity wise like I was just, I'm like total metalhead dude, like, or jazz, a jazz head, because I would see those guys. I'm a jazz head, I'm a metalhead.
Well,
guy.
you give off more of that vibe too, kind of like a fusion guy. You know what I mean? Like which is cool. You know,
but I guess it's not like, it's not that common when you do like, oh, it's some fusion nerd. Like, what is that? It's like, what kind of a food is that? You know, like fusion, right?
Well, it's for a lot of people. It's depending on which age you are. It's sometimes metal guitar or hard rock guitar can lead to jazz and jazz fusion. That's what happened to me. You know, you think oh, these guys can rip it up over here on the electric and metal, and they can, and they're great. But then when you kind of, your eyes are open to some jazz stuff, like Joe Pass for me, or Django Reinhardt, and you're like, oh, this is like ripping it with like crazy different colors and I don't know. When you kind of get that jazz bug, you either have it or you don't. And when you have it, it's like, it can be the best music in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I'm going to mention, I got into Pat Metheny too.
Oh, of course.
As a guitar player with some of the stuff, which is ethereal, like holy crap when you hear him go off.
Yeah.
And so a lot of these things are just...
He's kind of like, you can't box him in either.
Right. And that's the thing. I've never wanted to be in a box or whatever, but I've always had the love for the 80s tone and the 80s sound, mixing with this, like some late 70s. There was never like any major rules. And being in bands, because I've been in bands like
tell me about like your band history and all that, playing shows and whatever kind of groupings you've had.
Definitely. This is fun. Okay. First band was in high school. We were AFO. We were like a dark prog rock band.
AFO? That's the name?
AFO, which was like, there was never really a decisive meaning for what that was, right? It was like, it's just three letters that sound cool together.
It's the early 2000s, I'm sure. Mid, right? Something like that.
This was like 2000, like 90, 99. And it was like we were doing we just liked darker, weird stuff. Like I would bring a whole like Dream Theater vibe, but not quite. But I sang in it, and it was not great. But it was like baritone singing, and the bass player was just like really into like, I don't know, like world music, and then the drummer was just doing his own thing. It was really, we're kind of ahead of our time, I'd like to say. So that was the first band. We played 3 shows in like our high school.
Any recordings?
Oh, I think I can find some. Yeah, we put an album out, like a 7-track EP. I should send that over. You'll get a kick out of that.
I'll check it out. All right, you played 3 shows.
3 shows in our high school, like gymnasium / basement that we had. And I wore leather pants for one of the show with like neon tape. So we were like, that was the first band, and then like graduated high school. And then didn't really do anything my freshman year, but I met one of my best friends my sophomore year, and he was a bass player, and he to this day is one of my best friends. He officiated my wedding, and he's one of the best bass players I know.
Nice.
And so we started a band. Like we got introduced through a friend, and like we were like, he's always been kind of more of a funkier side, like Jamiroquai, like
nice.
Chili Pepper type deal. But great year. Like we could always bounce ideas off each other. So we were in like a random like I don't know what this word would be, like a guy. Okay, we found this lead singer who was like just getting out of his screamo phase, and he wanted to like do a Pink Floyd vibe.
Yeah.
So we joined up with this alcoholic drummer, which is another whole story. And we got booked metal night, and we held this light, fluffy Floyd, like cerebral set.
Nice.
Like, you have to go on, and like we drove to Grand Rapids. Like you have to play, and it was full of metalheads, and we got booed off the stage. That was kind of a funny story.
Rite of passage.
Yeah, right. And then I was in a band called the African Tiger Mosquitoes Machines, and we were
can you
a
say
cover
that
band,
whole
right?
name again? Can you give me that whole name again?
Yeah, African Tiger Mosquito Machines. It was like
All right.
ATM machines or something like that.
Just wanted to hear it again.
Yeah. And we were like a cover band, but like we found a good drummer at the time. He was really great. And then from there, that drummer, the bass player, and I, last year of college, we started the Schematic, and that was a full-on like fusion jam band, and we would cover like Contra,
cool.
Nintendo tracks. We'd write original tracks, and our keyboard player, we all lived together in a house, and I got to send you some of that too. So we were the Schematic, and that was kind of the jump point of like, all right, this is the kind of fun stuff we like to do. People would get into it. Like, we're at a fusion band. They wrote an article in the MSU paper about like being a fusion band, and like people were like coming to the shows and digging it. It was really cool because it was different. And they were like, but we would be open up for like jam bands because that was the only kind of pocket that would fit us in. So we like Humphreys McGee, like we'd open up for them or something when they'd come to town. And so that was fun. Good college party time. We played a set at a big house party, and it's one of those moments you remember.
Oh, those were the days.
There was a.
I mean, I didn't go to college myself, but
it's you see in the movies. I mean, I got my art degree. I learned it was valuable, but
I partied at colleges. I just didn't go to college. I've been to a lot of colleges.
It was more like can you live on your own and study some and take some tests, but like college to me was all about like learning. People were doing that without spending money.
Yeah.
But there was this bagpiper just randomly walking down the street, and this was like midnight at some house party. Somebody egged him on, like, get in here. He started playing the bagpipes in the middle of this party, and then we were just like, Steve was like, that's E flat. So we just did this whole jam song with this bagpipe guy walking in randomly, and the house went wild. So that was one of my favorite.
You couldn't do that
moments.
if you were on tracks.
Right. Right?
The spontaneity.
That's good times. This is the quick mode. I'm going kind of quick through my bands here, but I figure these are little touchdowns in my life.
Yeah, whatever you feel like sharing.
Yeah. Afterwards, I graduated college. I was at home on MySpace. Found the singer. I thought he was great. He had like a higher ranged voice, kind of like a John Anderson of Yes.
Oh, cool.
Type deal.
Nice.
Like wanting to be plant type. He was so I started a bit with Steve, the drummer. So we were Lime Regal. So we played like the kind of the Detroit little bar circuit.
Yeah.
Kind of like grittier stuff. Like we were like neoclassic riff rock type stuff. Get my Les Paul out for that.
There you go.
And
half stack.
Yes. Yep. A half stack that I painted like white with green lettering.
Can't go wrong with white stuff in rock and roll.
Yeah, exactly. And then after that, Brian joined the band. There's a whole thing. Like the drummer, he's like one of my buddies, but he couldn't. The band broke up because the lead singer had some of his own issues with substance, whatever. But also, he was a drummer for Uncle Kracker, so he went on tour with them and kind of like. So like, all right, man. I guess we're done. So that's fine. And then,
hey, when Uncle Kracker calls, you.
Yeah, Uncle Kracker calls, right? Yeah, exactly. And then just did my own stuff for a while. I was there's this guy, JTX.
Well, how old are you at this point?
So I was in my mid-20s.
Okay.
At this point, I want to say early 20s. I was did some good like solo guitar stuff, and then I just basically sat down like that. I need to do my stuff myself because like I don't want to rely on like other people, like drummers showing up and leaving, and so I really got into doing my own thing and learning to program drums. Like I think Addictive Drums, I got that, and it's really I still use that a lot of my stuff.
I use it.
Really?
Cool.
Do you?
Yeah,
Okay.
I use it on some things and different other projects. It's a little valuable tool there. I don't I do drums in many ways, but I use that a lot. It's a cool thing. So it's nice to have a partner in addiction.
And that got me playing around with some presets, and I think the whole synthwave thing started. Phaserland it was a kind of a gray window at time, but I was listening to like Oingo Boingo, and I was like, man, look at this, listen to this production, like look at these crazy things panning in my ear, like these percussive things, like look at these, listen to these stabs, like this is awesome. And I was like, how is there any new bands making this? So I like searched around trying to find new 80s bands and stuff. And I came across like Tesla Boy was like the first one. I was like, wow, this is new. The people are making this. Holy crap! And then like I heard Mitch Murder, the Glass Cities EP.
Yeah,
and that's what hit me over the head and opened up the portal to like, okay, I'm doing this.
Mitch was one of my first on my radar, kind of in the official like, what is this new scene of artists. I can hear some of that. Like that was like a big touchstone artist for you.
Yeah,
I've never been able to pull it off. There's this kind of soft touch to the production, and like I always, my shit comes in too hot sometimes, and I try to be soft, and you just have this lush touch when it has a punch, but. I don't know, and it doesn't sound like Mitch Murder. It sounds like Phaserland, but I just wanted to tell you I could it makes sense you saying that. I can hear that influence.
Okay, hell yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. There's a little bit of this like dynamic thing going on there that's real. Like it's like a touch. I get what you mean, and it's fluffy sometimes and. It's
spacious.
Like it's the hum. Yeah, it's spacious. It's a hum of an office fluorescent tube sitting there talking to you and like an empty floor. I don't know.
I had a feeling he knew what he was doing too.
Yeah, exactly.
There are people that phone in things, and some things are easier than others make it sound. I don't know, but you don't phone it in. You can't even be put in this box of synthwave. Like it's not even on this kind of EDM kick or anything. It's got its own vibe, and like that was like someone I thought, man, this guy knows what he's doing, and Mitch was like that, and there's some others I'm sure we could name, but just interjecting that there.
Yeah, it's the sum of our parts, and like I like putting in the work, and now it's. These are all just choices for me, and I do obsess. Like hopefully that shows some people when they listen to it. Like I'll obsess about making something sound a certain way. Like you said, phoning it in. I'd rather not do that. If it really bothers me, it bothers me. I got to go back and fix it.
It sounds like you spend a lot of time on it, and not in a bad, overly produced way. It just, I just was remember taking note, like, wow, he does not phone this in, and he spends time, and that's something I value, and that's why I'm talking to you now.
Oh, yeah. Well, I can hear that in your end too, and
it's a curse. It's a curse.
It's a curse. It is curse. It's a curse. But
blessing.
Shout out. I want to say like my wife is a big fan of your music too.
Well, I appreciate it.
That's Morgan.
I see her the support from her throughout the years. So
good.
Thank
Excellent.
you guys. I appreciate it.
100%. But yeah, it's a craft. It's artistry. It's something that it's a human thing that touches us all, and I love to do it, and I love to create these emotions for people. Like I want the listener to not have to worry about it. Just say, hey, let's check this out. Hit play. Put on some headphones or whatever. Like go for a drive or clean your room, or just let me do the work for you. Stream it, listen to it, buy it if you like my music, but like let me do the work and create something for you of value in this world. I like that. Yeah, no, and it shows. And I mean, you must like doing that. As sometimes it's painful, but I sure do when you're getting in the minutia and the devil's in the details, and you're just in front of that screen, and the clock goes by, and you're in the zone. And I kind of live for the zone. Do you know what I mean? I know the zone. It's a fascinating place. It's almost like I don't mean to be crude, but like it's like almost like a drug. And sometimes that way it affects you. Like it is. Like and when you're on drugs doing it, whoa, whoa, even better. Yeah. Yeah, the zone is fantastic, and it doesn't happen all the time. And when it does, it's like I have to ride this thing because this is awesome. You kind of know what's. Ooh, like that's nice, that's cool. But like, wow, like this part's giving me a little bit like some chills, and it's taking me back to like I'm 8 years old again. Like let's experiment. Let's keep going with this idea. That happens.
Hey everybody, if you're enjoying these chats so far, hit that subscribe button so we can keep this thing going and get the artists you want to hear about to come on this show. I appreciate your support. Do you have a song off the top of your head that you remember you were working on it and you had that feeling that like, hey, this one's something?
Oh yeah, some of my earlier stuff. It's like Sushi on the Monorail song.
Okay, yeah.
Like for that, yeah, like in Electric Atlantic. Some of those tracks in there, like that was even like 2014 to go back and like the landscape was really changing musically for me, or tracks like Beyond the Factory. I remember just like specifically like running up the stairs and being like, that's the coolest shit I ever made. What the hell? That's the cool, like I'll literally say it back, like that's the coolest thing I've ever done.
Do you still feel that way? Like, you know, some songs, they change your mind and 10 years later you might still think it's great, and or you know, do you still think the same thing? Holy shit, that's the best thing I've ever done. Or are you just
every once in a while it'll, and like I'm really proud of the last album I made, because I don't know, I'll go back and you got to give yourself some space, go back and listen to your stuff again, but like there's some things that be like I don't know how I came up with that. Like, I have no idea what I did, but I was in the zone. I was in the right place, right? I came up with this. The choices, put them together. Like that sounds great. Like that's literally one of the coolest things I've done, and that can change and ebb and flow. But that's something that I will always keep chasing and improving as an artist and trying to get better. I mean, and it's of course it's subjective in a way, but
well, is there a song that you love, or you know, that's this is one of the best things I ever made, that didn't connect and like people didn't like it as much as you, or they didn't get it? Is there any moment like that you can recall?
Oh well, I guess like when I release stuff, it's usually not singles and it's an album. So you know, if I'll put out an album, there might be some tracks in it that I absolutely love, and like, we all get like the lower ends of streams. Nobody says anything about it. I mean, that just could be putting it out there anyway and how I do it, and maybe it wasn't as much promotion. I'm having a hard time saying, oh, everybody loves my music, but like honestly, a lot of things kind of just fall through the cracks. Like that's okay.
No,
like
of course.
Some people listen to them and they've discovered them, and maybe they will one day.
Well, do you think is there a song that you were surprised that it was big, or like you know, it was more popular than some others, had better streaming numbers? Any song that you were like, whoa, I didn't expect that one to wouldn't have been the one I picked?
Yeah, no, I like it's amazing. Like the ones that really, like Nomad City is probably my biggest track. Like that's a cool song. It's just I wouldn't have picked it for like you know, the big one to pop off, but it's a great one. But it has.
What do you think of that? Like, I wish you could choose your Spotify top 5 as an artist, you know, because like my biggest song, like I'm thankful for the streams, but it's not, it's like it's like the oldest song. Like it's not what I do now. And it's, you know, so I don't know how you feel about that.
No, I think that there should be some control over that, because right now, like 3 of the 5 are like from 2015 and earlier, like Hot Stunner. Yeah. That's one with Nicki singing on it. Yeah. I mean, that's almost like a synth pop song, and that really helped throw him in the edge too.
I really liked that one. That, like, I was jamming on that earlier, and the remix too. Like just the guitar harmonies, and the kind of has this bounce to it. It just, I felt like I was, you know, cleaning the house in an 80s movie when my parents were going out of town for a party.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, that's fantastic. I love that vibe, and I want people to feel that. Like that's part of it.
Which
that's great.
I'm diving, but just because of that thought, like a lot of your stuff has this really bouncy, fun feel that like I imagine all of the instrumentation and everything that's happening, like kind of that Blender, like late 80s, early 90s 3D, like shape art, kind of just like bouncing around. And it's really cool, if that makes any sense.
Man,
I feel like it does, because I know you kind of do some stuff in graphics and delve into that
it totally
world.
does. Those early graphic. Like I love that stuff. And I'll when I do live shows, I'll have like that stuff going on behind me for like visual goodness behind, if you will. But I was into that stuff, man. Like I used to watch The Mind's Eye. I think what it was, a VHS tape I had, and it was all the early graphics. I would just sit there and watch it.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what I'm referring to. Somewhere in my mind's eye of what I'm trying to, in a freaking paper airplane flying through, and
yes,
you know what I'm talking about.
It's like,
the toaster.
I've always been a little more optimistic about things.
I feel that. I feel
so.
This
I like
positive.
to incorporate that. Yeah.
Why is that, Ross? Tell me about your positive outlook on a world that can be so dark sometimes.
I grew up with supportive parents, and I lived a good life so far, and I was able to kind of do things that I wanted to, in a sense. I know my dad is always like, he's the most patient man that I've ever met in my life, and he's been a good role model on me. So I've only seen him get mad one time.
Was it at you?
Yeah, one time. Yeah, but like
one time,
you hear stories about like
bastard.
Like, you hear, yeah. And so that's really rubbed off me, because like, it's not worth it. I mean, I get mad, all the time. Not all the time, but like not in the sense that maybe other people would. Like, I don't think I've punched a wall ever. But I could
learn a thing or two from you and your father. So right. I'll be there for the holidays.
It's something that I've kind of always had. I mean, I don't mean to downplay. Like, you got to release like your anger. People have energy. They have, they have
of course. That's why metalheads are usually at peace.
100%, 100%. It's just kind of who I have formed and who I have been, and so I just take that positivity in a lot of stuff that I make, and sometimes it comes off like beautiful or melancholy, but most times it's like bouncy, it's inquisitive, it's hopeful, it can be optimistic. It's just my way of putting the good vibes in the world, man. Like, there's ways to like make happy music or vibe, but like I like creating my own way, and
that's really cool.
And yeah,
it's commendable.
Fun. It's like fun. Like the song I did with Sunglasses Kid. Like Covert Action that was on there. That's just kind of a bouncy one thing.
I mean, is it a conscious decision when you're making music? Or do you work off your feelings? I'm feeling inquisitive right now. I'm feeling happy and hopeful, yet melancholic at the same time. Like, are you like how does it? Do you name the feeling after? Like, the song has created its own feeling, and then you put a name to it. Oh, that is kind of inquisitive.
Usually I'm just like, whatever state I'm in, I'm not really thinking about it too much, and I'm just vibing, and I'm just creating. And it's at that certain time in my life where, like, hey, what's going on in 2017 or what's happening in 2022? It's all behind the scenes, but it's like affecting me in a way, and I'm making it, creating it, and then you should look back and be like, oh wow, that does sound this way or this way. Usually it's not the case where I'm like, hey, I want to make a song that sounds like The Midnight or something. Like, I did that once. And that's the song that got on the song off of Hart Plaza another night. Like, I was listening to like a midnight, they do like some tutorial thing, and I was like, I kind of want to make a song that kind of sounds not like them, but like, all right, what kind of instruments they use, what's the feel, and that's the song with this. I wanted a sax solo. I got a great sax guy from Minneapolis, actually, Danny Q.
Oh, nice! Shout out Danny Q, Minneapolis. Look him up.
Yeah, it's great dude. I'm like, dude, I'll give you a guitar solo. Let's trade solos. He's like, sure, man. He just nailed this amazing solo for me. I'm like, well, do you want me to do anything? He's like, I'll let you know, man. Don't worry about it. Enjoy it. And like, the song got picked up for the Forza video.
Oh, nice. That was the thing that we both were on that, right?
Yeah. That was the one. So I was like, okay, there's something to this, but that was like, it doesn't happen that often. Where I'm like, hey, I want to make a song that sounds just like this. Sometimes I want to like, hey, I listen to some Cassiopeia. Yeah. Or like that
of course.
Jazz.
Yeah.
Like, or it might inspire me like, hey, I want to make like an EP or something. Like, that would be a thing. Like I want that kind of vibe, and I'm just gonna go for it. Which my next thing I want to do is kind of like that. Like spoiler alert.
I think
like,
you told me about
the next,
this.
Yeah, EP. I'm just kind of want to do something like a funky city pop Japanese. That style.
Oh, nice.
Late 70s, but like my own spin on it, right? Like it'll have a few things on there, but I got the new addictive drums, like addictive.
The vintage dry.
The vintage dry, and then there was the dead. There's vintage dead that
Wait,
came
there's
out.
a vintage dead that just came out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm hitting that because I've got the vintage dry, which I like.
So
you got to finesse that one a little bit. I don't know if you
exactly.
You got to kind of debox some of the deboxy that snare. But I do love it though. It's actually one I enjoy playing on the like electronic drum kit too, because it's got that kind of like Steve Gadd, real nice dry low vibe.
Do you play? You got a electric kit that you play?
Tangenting on me, but yeah, I mean it's in storage right now because I'm in the process of moving. But I'm a closet drummer. But the sounds of the vintage dry, like I could see definitely suiting your city pop adventures.
Yeah, exactly. And I like to layer my stuff. So addictive drums, a lot, you get the hi-hats and cymbals and find a nice room sound. And then I'll usually layer and a couple more snares on top of it. And kick, the same thing with the kick. I'll beef it up with another. So I'm literally just stacking it kind of on top of addictive drums. And I do that a lot.
Well, the drums sound fat, and I like the wide reverb on the snares that a lot of your stuff has. How did you? I just still want to know how you figured the sonics out.
Yeah, man.
Because
let's talk about it.
But okay, so did you record bands or anything? Like, did you what? How did what was your recording experience and mixing experience? Like, how did you? Your first album sounds really good as far as sonics go. Like, I'm just like, and it was annoying to me because every album that I'd be listening to, for some reason it would end and the Apple Music would play one of my songs after every album, and my mixes were always not as good, and it was just like, damn you, Ross.
Stop.
No, but
it's all right. It's all right.
Like, either way, I thought it was a hilarious gift from the universe to give me some fodder for the conversation about mixing that you put my mixes to shame. So just please shed some light on how you got to your sonic gold.
Yeah, I can. Let me touch on that subject. I've always been. I come from the band background, so I've used to being around. Like, we've gone in and recorded that Lime Regal band, like in Rust Belt Studios here in Royal. But it was just me showing up with the guitar. Like, I wasn't running the board or anything. I was just watching them kind of do it. They had this big Neve console and stuff, and these Shadow Hills compressors. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Oh, that sounds good, I guess. Put it on the drums. I don't know.
You were interested. You were watching,
but it was like I was
learning,
and it's a little bit, and so I know. Okay, like I've always when I play my drums, I'll play them live on the keys type of thing. So I've been around a drummer in a session trying to get it down, and obviously I can edit all these drums MIDI, and I can shift a snare note here or there, but sonically speaking, it went from me just sticking up a couple SM57s, 58s with, in 2008. No, even earlier than that, forget. So me just sitting down, I used to mix on computer speakers with a little, you'd get from Best Buy, with the bass subwoofer included.
Yeah.
I started mixing on
your
that.
Phone would just buzz every time your phone was next to it.
That was a thing.
If your mixes sound good on that.
So that was the early Lime Regal stuff, and I said, okay. And so I kind of multi-track recording, blah blah blah, and it's just, I think a lot of it is just restraint and making good choices, and it's just certain, I've listened to a Prince song, oh, look at that, listen to that snare, I want to make it kind of sound like that, but it honestly, it was always like a lot of presets that I make, like a lot of the kits and stuff, and now a lot of the synth stuff is like a lot of presets and with some EQing. Like that's basically what I started first album on. Like I didn't make any original synth sounds like for my first. Excuse me. I was just tweaking a little bit. EQing,
but how did you learn? You know, how did you figure out like where the space was?
I just kind of did it. Like,
granted, you know, the arrangements are lending a helping hand because mine were a nightmare. Mine have gotten I've gotten more restrained as I get better, but it was you know you have, I guess you have less colors to work with on some manner of speaking. But I could hear everything was in its own space. I could hear like I was in a room. Like I can hear your music, and space is very important to me too. And headphones is my favorite way to listen to music. And I just, you know, it sounds like you don't even know how you got it, right?
It could be, and part of it is just understanding. Okay, I do have the space to work with. I'm in this basement room.
Didn't you redo that recently or?
Oh, I moved actually this year.
Oh, okay.
So there's a lot going on. Like I got married last year, had a kid this year, moved this year.
New album.
She started, new album.
Congratulations.
But it hasn't, yeah, thank you. But like the sauce, the ingredients of the space hasn't changed much. It's literally been like usually a smaller basement room and I sit my speakers up on these stands and I try to create a stereo image field, and I respect the low end, and I cut out a low end of my guitars. My guitars, I really cut a lot of lower frequencies on there.
Yeah, you don't need that in this music. Do you know what I mean? Like
right, exactly.
You need it in hard rock, and when that's doing the heavy lifting, which I'm always surprised. I'm just like, damn, like they're leaving that much in. Every time I have to do it or go in there, it's like, man, this much low end, you need it.
Right. But some of it is just, honestly, it's trusting yourself, because you see these people, like, more arrogant lending people online of you got to get this gear and you got to mix it this way, you know, get my mixing classes, or like these guys are like, well, what are you even mixing? Because that looks like expensive equipment. Like, why would I want to listen to this music? Like, this is not good. Like, why would I listen to you? So I've always just kind of like done my own thing, and sonically, I guess maybe I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm leading it all up to my ears, and I roll with it, baby. I'm like, that sounds good, that doesn't sound good, and it's a lot of conversations in my head about like what I want, and the end product is what it is, and I'm so glad people like it and that you can appreciate it, because I'm creating this the space and just doing my thing, man.
Are you getting the image in your head? Like, are you when you release a song or you finish a song or an album, are you like, that's what was in my mind, or is there any like, it wasn't exactly, well, like, what's that like for you?
Usually the end product like it's close to what I want it to be, because otherwise I wouldn't have like released it usually.
Yeah.
Like if I'm content with it, like, ooh, yeah, that's good, I can move on from there. Then I'll know hey, what's the next one, or how does it flow into. Also, I do a lot of self-listening. Like when I'm building an album, like I'll listen to a track a lot after, like in the car, like, is this good? Am I? And like usually I don't do too much to it, but I just do a lot of listening.
Well, I mean, you're making it sound like that's insane. You know, I get to a point where I can't even listen to it anymore. You alluded to it earlier, where we do this hard work, or whatever, we do work. We listen to the song so much to make it like good for the listener, and sometimes, I don't know about you, sometimes we never want to hear it again, or it takes a while to kind of get back some fresh ears. But you have to self-produce in kind of our area of music that we're working in, and really sometimes the only way to self-produce is you kind of have to listen and come back to it with fresh ears as the producer, being like, that's bloated, take that out. You know, you're talking to yourself. It's a 100%. Strange phenomena.
it is a strange phenomenon, 100%. And a lot of times you just by yourself. A lot of times you throw it to friends. Hey, you listen to my track, but like like I'm if somebody sends it to me, like I'll listen to it once, be like, hey, it sounds good. I'm not gonna get that cerebral deep dive. Yeah, usually and but here's the thing, if I listen to it and again, like, and I still say, hey, that's cool, that's great, and I'm still wiggling to it, like I know that's good. If I keep listening to it, I'm like, I feel kind of weird. It's like I don't know if I like, then I know it's like maybe it's not so great. It's something that I've done. I don't know if it's a process that should be trusted, but something that I've kind of learned over time. Like if I can keep listening to it, it works. Like
if I'm the same way. If you don't want to shoot yourself after the 1,000th time, and you can kind of still hear that magical goosebump that you gave yourself, I think you're good. That's kind of my test too. Like if I'm not sick of it, and you thought it was good at first, then you're onto something. You've done a lot of collabs over the years. Yeah. Do you like working? Is that something you enjoy doing?
I do. You sound apprehensive. Time. I do. Like it depends who the artist is, because like you probably get the messages too. Hey, I'd love to collab. Let's do something. Never. And I'm like, but sometimes I'm like, hey, actually, that sounds cool. Like, I'm just so busy. Like, ask me in a year. And I don't mean to be like a dick about it or 6 months, but like literally it's going to take me that long mentally to get to a spot where I can try doing something, because especially I have less time now because I have a daughter. Yeah. It's an infant. But like usually it's like Michael Shadow, like last track I did with with him. Mm-hmm. He's like a great friend of mine, and the last album we did something together on. I didn't collab with anybody in this.
Yeah, this was all you, baby.
It was all me, baby.
I guess that's the answer.
No, I mean it's the early days. Like remember like that first. Before people really kind of blew up, like Sunglasses Kid, Time Cop.
You were heavy hitters. I was going through your catalog, and it was like those were the days where everyone was just flying blind in the synthwave forest, and like shaking hands, and those were good times. Like a different. There's a nostalgia for that time almost. Talk about
it's true
head explosion type meta stuff, but so. You've done a lot of collabs, but what would you say your favorite collab was? What was the track that came out the best and it was the best experience?
Oh man, let me think about that. No, like because they all kind of have a different feel to them. Like early working with Nikki Dawes, like that was such an early vibe of that, because I collab with the singer. Like I didn't know what I was doing. Honestly, I didn't know how to mix vocals, but like I did it because I'm just gonna do what I think it should sound like. Yeah, and it kind of blew up. But like I liked working with Michael Shadow on the Decipher album, and Miami Nights 1984. Doing a track with him on the Heart Plaza record, like that was fun.
Oh yeah, nice. Because you were on his label, right? Rosso Corsa.
Yeah. We did a release together, and we're still like buddies, and so like, and working with Sunglasses Kid is great too. Like the early stuff he did with the Knockout, that was a fun track. Like I just did like a funky guitar, like that was me just like, hey, give me like, hey mate, can you give me like, like 8 bars of like funky guitar, mate, and I was like, all right, send it to him, and like, oh yeah, how about like do some solos, like make it more like over the top, mate, and then like, okay, and then he would do all the stuff, and like the final product would be like Knockout, like this is awesome, holy, thanks for, he did all the mixing and everything. It was me just
those are the best collabs, right? Here's my 5 minutes of work, and yeah. All right, what was that was leading me into something. I just got a couple more kind of points here. And some of this stuff, like I'm gonna like that mixing thing, because I couldn't get it out of you before somehow, and then we got it out of you a bit later. Like I'm gonna
that's fine.
Mix that together, like in the same. I don't know. I'm gonna figure this stuff out. I'll get in the zone when I'm editing this. It will just be all my end of the conversation. You won't even be on there. Oh yeah, I wanted to talk to you about Reaper because
Yeah.
I remember I don't know if you remember this, but I hit you up I don't know 6-7 years ago when I was first starting to do shows, and I'd been following your videos and seeing you'd been doing a bunch of live shows at that point, and I reached out to you and asked you what you were using for your video and all that, and you led me on to Reaper, which I've pretty much been using for my live stuff as well. So how did you get into that and doing live shows?
Oh, first of all, that's really cool news because I think you're the only one besides me is using it now. Maybe that's fantastic. I, as far as Reaper or live shows in general.
Yeah, I mean, like, how do you use that for recording or just live?
Oh, that's all I use for recording. I just do everything in Reaper.
That's
so
wild.
I do all my.
That's wild to me.
Really?
Like, just I think because the layout is so PC to me. Like it's just it's so counterintuitive, some of the decisions, like because I work in Logic, some of the shortcuts, the scrolling things, it's like I have to switch off this part of the brain. So editing and actually arranging and doing all that stuff in there, I feel like I'd have to totally relearn all that. But because you're just all encompassed in that, it must be second nature for you.
Yeah, it's just something that I started early on. Like my buddy was like, "Hey, it's this free recording program." This was like early on before I did any Phaserland. Like so that's kind of how I started to understand multi-track recording. It's once you get over like, hey, you got to click here, you got to click here. Like it's second nature, just like any.
It's all the same.
I really like the wave editing in it, the format, and like the scrolling and the cutting, splicing, moving around, and the customizable features in it are nice. And honestly, it's just like, you know what? I'm just gonna keep rolling with this. Like I'm sure like Logic's cool and all, like, but I don't want to have to relearn stuff again. And if things work, like all the VSTs I run through here, like things work. They just work. So I'm like, let's just keep it the way it is. And some people are like I said, they're like, wow, I would not have expected Reaper to, for your workflow. I'm like, well, I'm not using Ableton. It's just kind of not what I do. But
so you haven't encountered anyone else who's a Reaper producer?
No, maybe like one other person, just in a brief casual conversation.
How'd you even hear about Reaper?
It was my buddy. Like in the early days, he like was using it to record something. And like he's like, hey, check this out. This was like 2005 or something.
2005?
2006. It was like early days, man. 2006, 7, maybe 2006 or 7. So it was a name that stuck out in my head, and I remember him just hitting that FX button, and then all your things pop up. I mean, I showed my wife to use the Reaper, and she used it because like that's all I know. She's like, "Can you help me with open some production?" Because she makes like almost like survivalist horror video game soundtrack stuff, which is cool. And
that's cool.
Where
can I check that out?
She goes by Morgan Backwards Nagram. She's on Spotify and stuff.
Shout out.
So she's all really into like kind of darker things, or like this kind of ambient, atmospheric stuff, and just kind of like
that's really cool.
Spooky stuff. Yeah, it's cool.
Do you guys watch horror movies together?
Oh yeah. Oh, she's a huge. Yeah, definitely. Like that's.
Is she the horror buff?
Her DVD. Yeah, she is. Like her DVD collection is like it's like we have a library. It's like it's amazing. If like, and she knows about it. If you mention like, oh yeah, remember this B horror movie or C horror movie from 1979? Like she's like, oh yeah, I actually own that. Like it's amazing. Like she's a big buff. She's more a fan of like the slasher campy stuff, which I'm a fan of as well. It's just
I love that. I love the scores for that stuff. Like of course, like the Freddy stuff and Jason and Halloween, we all know that, but just some more slasher, late 70s, early 80s. There's some really cool It's not a slasher, but I'm thinking of like the howling, the like strings in that. They don't really do it like that anymore.
Yeah.
I'm definitely curious to check her stuff out.
Yeah, like it's more of a newer thing for her, getting into it, and it's helpful. I don't want to be that guy like so overbearing and being like, you should be doing this and you should be using parallel compression.
Of course.
but it's great seeing. I mean, and it's since the move, it's just difficult and all that stuff. But like I know she'll get back to that. She's a great writer too. Like she's a great writer. Like stories, like short stories she's working on. Like this is amazing. I keep encouraging her to do that. But definitely she's the creative side. We clicked right away. I met her at my show that I played in Ferndale, Michigan. I put on with
a Phaserland show.
Yeah, Phaserland show. Max Overdrive came up from Florida. We put on a show in 22, and yeah.
So you met your wife in 22 at this show?
Yeah, or is it 20? Yeah, 20. Yep, 22.
That's pretty awesome. You played a show.
She showed up. I didn't know who she was. She had this blue hair and like
she was Marge
yellow
Simpson.
shirt on.
Marge Simpson showed up. It was meant to be.
It was meant to be. But yeah, that's how because there's not a lot of like synthwave love and electronic stuff, and she already knew what synthwave was, which is really cool because it's not that common. It's not that big of a name here compared to like let's say San Francisco or wherever. But
hey, you're way ahead of the game if your lady is already into synthwave, man. You don't have to be like, I swear I'm cool. It's No,
it's nice. So, but like she's like, I'm gonna put on some vaporwave and chill with the baby. Okay. That's
cool.
My wife. That's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Did you play any music for your baby in the womb or anything? Do you like what's your musical relationship with your new daughter?
Oh man, it's I've played some guitar for her, just simple stuff. She's just now being more cognitive, like a nice eye contact, and she's grabbing at stuff. It's like so okay. Now is a good time to be a little more tangible, but like, I'll put on some of my stuff, but I've been playing like some of the classics, man. Like I put on some like Bach or Mozart, like just nice beautiful music. Like let's get some of this brain function going. Let's listen how wonderful this is. Just pure like awesome music. Like not overbearing, just in the background, and I swear her like eyes lit up. I'm like, this is good. Let's just start with this, and then we'll bring in some other things.
No, I support that. You can't go wrong with the classics, and more I don't know, jazz or classical things with high structure. It's brain food. I call it. I put on it in the morning with my daughter. It's brain food. Here we go. Yeah. And I learn and grow with it too. And I'm just like, man, these are good. Like,
100%.
Is that Bach? Oh yeah.
It's like, honey, don't listen to like there's some like bad TV on the background. It's like, don't listen to that.
Oh yeah. And,
it's like no.
It's like what we were talking about before with these commercials with from 1982 with Dave Grusin in the background just jamming over a 7-Eleven commercial. And now it's like frantic crap every second for our kids. Where like I'm throwing on over Christmas, I threw on 1982 Smurfs with like awesome string arrangements in there, and she was loving it.
That's what I'm gonna do, man. Yeah, 100%. And like that's great that you're doing that.
Yeah,
because I'm gonna put on some gummy bears.
Exactly. So some of we watched Garfield 1987 Christmas. That was a little weird. Go watch that and tell me that's not a little weird. All right, but
I love the Halloween one is great. And it's got that.
I'll watch that.
I don't know who's singing in it
this year. I'll watch that when it comes up.
Okay, the Christmas.
It's just a little strange with John's family. It's like, John's a little weird, but
John's a doc boy.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, digressing. What would you say is your favorite movie score, or a few that come to mind that just either influenced you or just something that just holds a dear place in your heart?
Oh, absolutely. John Williams, Mr. Horner, like put that in there, right? Like
of course,
Willow, like that is one of the. I don't know. I think it's an underrated score. That
was that Horner.
Krull, like,
did Horner do that one?
I think so. And Krull too.
Oh, Krull, yeah.
But all time, like things like that where it's just absolute magic. I'm gonna cliche wise, like it's I feel like people say Blade Runner to say Blade Runner, but I'm just gonna say it because it's true.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
And how it's so it's the cinema. It's just liquid flows over you. It reminds you the first time you watched it, like I was by myself in like a dark room, like from start to finish. It's something about that essence is time. Vangelis is like,
oh, he's a
it's hard to beat that.
Yeah, he's a boss.
And yeah, it's hard to beat that for sure. As far as movies goes, like, should I know names of other people who score movies? Probably yes. Am I bad about that? Yes. Yeah, like even the beginning bumpers of like the Pegasus flying through the air before the movie starts, the anticipation. Like I used to love the beginning of movies before they actually started. Getting the theater and like the ambiance and the early like. You know what I mean? Those bumpers, whatever they're called.
Like the touchstone, like all the Universal, Paramount, all these movie company like Fox 20th Century, like those every time that comes on, like my life got a little more exciting. It's that's a great example. Those little moments of 10, 15, 20 seconds are little masterpieces, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And, they get the party started.
They stick with you. Yeah, they stick with you. They make you feel that certain magic. And I like to carry that on. So it's, especially in today's world, man. It's
of course.
Today's world,
Do you have an interest in scoring movies?
Like a fair amount to small. Just because nobody's really. I don't. One time somebody asked me and I tried it and I just did my own thing and it was not it was for like a coming of age LA kind of indie movie thing and I think they wanted more like a Grimes. Like, can you make it more like this and this? And I was just still doing like kind of my thing. And
what do you mean you don't want Phaserland?
Yeah, right. Do you know who Grimes. I am? Come on. And so I was like, I don't know if that turned me away from it, but. I haven't really been asked too much, and I'm like, okay, well, it's not like something that I strive to do, so I'm just like, I'm just not going to put that egg in that basket.
Well, for now, you can make the music to the movies in my mind. Because that's what I feel when I'm listening to your tunes, and they really take me away, and... Oh, I gotta say, I'm a bigger fan than going into this, and I really respect what you do. And the person comes through in the music, and we could all take a little bit from Phaserland's book of positivity and a life worth living. So, on that note, I would like to bid you farewell, my friend. Back to your safe nook in Detroit.
I really appreciate that. As kind words makes it worthwhile to hear that kind of feedback, especially from other artists that just like kind of doing the same thing and following their own path. It means a lot. It's I would say that the compliments are right back at you in a sense of the things that you do. That everybody has their own touch and learning capability and like. I don't some of the stuff that you do. When I listen to it, I get pissed off because it's so good. It's so good. I remember I was like, what the hell? Like I've sworn because like I know it's just the Phaserland show, but let's say I appreciate you. It takes a lot to get into these types of things, and I appreciate it. So thank you.
I appreciate that, man. And just remember, it's always greener on the other side, and we've all got our pros and cons, and the important thing is we just be true to ourselves, and that's how I feel when I hear your music, and you're just being you, other than that Midnight song that you made with the sax and all that stuff, but it got you on a video game.
I tried to.
No, I know you can't sound like
way, but
you still sound like Phaserland. That's we put our influences in the meat grinder, and our own sausage comes out, if you will.
That's true.
But
enjoy the flavor.
Yeah, I'll think of a nicer example next time. But all right, well,
that's fine.
I wish you luck in everything that you do, and we shall chat again.
Yeah, sounds great, man. Looking forward to it.
Thanks for listening to Synthwave Sit Downs. Subscribe and stay tuned for the next one.